Food and Society's Assignment 2, Vietnam. Vietnam is a tropical lowland country located in Asia. It shares its boundaries with China, Cambodia, and Laos. Steamed rice, or com trang, is a staple food in the Vietnamese diet. Rice is manufactured into other products, such as rice noodles, rice wine, and rice vinegar. Common additions to food include salty fish sauce, or nuoc mam, which is made by fermenting anchovies. It is used frequently in cooking as a source of salt or as a dipping sauce. A typical peasant meal is steamed rice with nuoc mam. Seafood is the main protein consumed in the Vietnamese diet, and while they still are consumed, beef, pork, and chicken are used less frequently in cooking, and this is mainly due to socioeconomic status. Beef, pork, and chicken can be expensive and therefore cannot be afforded by poorer families. Lemongrass, coriander, chili, and mint are common herbs and spices that are used in Vietnamese cooking to add flavour and depth to food. Vegetables, particularly raw vegetables, are used commonly in cooking to add colour and to act as a flavour contrast against spicy proteins or plain rice. Food preparation methods. Food is cut into small pieces or shredded. Protein, whether it is beef or seafood, as well as rice and vegetables, are typically cooked in a soup or broth or wrapped in rice paper and eaten raw. Food is also stir-fried with nuoc mam or hoisin sauce. Typically, when food is consumed by families, it is not separated into individual serves. Meals are instead eaten and shared from communal dishes, for example, a single family eating from the one pot of pho bo beef soup. Current food practices in Vietnam are the result of the influence of neighbouring countries and invading populations. When Mongolia invaded Vietnam, they brought beef with them. Neighbouring countries Laos and Cambodia brought spices such as chili and coconut milk. When China was in power, they taught chopstick use and stir-frying method as a way of preparing food. Finally, when the French colonised Vietnam, they introduced coffee and creams, bread, pâté, milk, and butter. Much of Vietnam is Buddhist due to the Chinese influence, and therefore much of the population practices vegetarianism. During the lunar festival, also known as Tet, protein and eggs are forbidden to be consumed on certain days, resulting in many vegetarian dishes being consumed. Pictured here is a typical vegetarian dish consumed during this time of braised pumpkin and coconut milk. On special occasions, certain meals are made in celebration. Dishes such as abalone or shark fin soup, sweet banana cake, and coconut and egg custard are typical meals that are cooked for special occasions. Ban chung is another special meal, sticky rice and braised pork wrapped inside a banana leaf into a square-like package, which is then steamed until cooked. Regional variations. Climate affects the availability of ingredients in Vietnam. During winter in the north, meat and vegetables are cooked in broths and soups for warmth. In contrast, in the tropical south, where there is longer growing seasons and therefore greater availability of fresh ingredients, more fruits and vegetables are consumed. As it is warmer in the south, food is typically eaten raw or grilled in contrast to the hot soups and broths made in the north. The Vietnamese cuisine shares many similarities with other cuisines. Like many other Asian diets, the Vietnamese consume rice as a staple element to many meals. Like the Chinese, the Vietnamese also use a stir-fry method to cook food, and use a wide variety of spices such as chili, coriander, and lemongrass like the Thai. The Vietnamese cuisine also follows the typical Asian cooking principles of integrating intense colour, flavour, texture, and aroma throughout the preparation of food. An unusual food of the Vietnamese cuisine is duck embryo. A nearly hatched duck egg is boiled and served with fresh herbs on a bed of coriander. It is found as common street food throughout Vietnam. The main agricultural outputs of Vietnam are rice, coffee, black pepper, and fish and seafood. Its main exports are rice, coffee, and seafood, while its main imports are beef. Vietnam's key commodities are sugarcane, vegetables, and maize, while Australia's key commodities are sugarcane, whole milk, and wheat products. These values, recorded by the Pheo-Stat, are measured by weight in tonnes. A brief recount of the Vietnamese migration to Australia. To begin, there was a change in political leadership and ideology in Vietnam, resulting in a communist republic forming in the north and a democratic republic forming in the south. Eventually, this led to a war between the two ends of the country. In order to escape the war, many Vietnamese families fled by a boat and arrived in Australia between 1977 and 1992. The Vietnamese influence on cuisine in Australia. The Vietnamese introduced rice, various green vegetables, and a range of herbs and spices to Australia, as well as the manufacturing of noodles and soy products, for example, tofu. They also introduced the stir-fry cooking method. The Vietnamese place a major importance on the texture, aroma, colour, and flavour of foods rather than simply nutrition. This has somewhat influenced the Australian culinary world in that many Australian chefs and restaurants now aim to create food where the flavour, taste, and look of dishes is now paramount. Finally, an example of the Vietnamese influence is the Vietnamese street food franchise known as Roll. Currently, there are 45 stores in Australia to date, and the company is still expanding. They advertise fresh, simple meals that reflect the food found on the streets of Vietnam, which therefore provides a prime example of the Vietnamese influence on Australian cuisine. The best-selling foods at Roll are pho bo, beef soup, corn, rice paper rolls, and banh mi, Vietnamese baguette.